Hello, my name is Alex. I was recently admitted to Stanford through QuestBridge's National Match program. I also did QuestBridge's College Prep Scholars program, and today I'm going to focus on that program. Just as a forewarning, this video is a little late. The submission deadline for 2021 is on March 24th. So this video is going to be targeted at people who are already applying and for those who may apply in the future. Now let's get straight to talking about the program in general. First, let's talk about the requirements to apply. One of the main things that QuestBridge looks for is that you have a relatively low income, so about $65,000 or below. But in order for us to get a better feel for the program and the type of person that gets in, I'm going to cover some of the qualifications that students in the past had that applied. For academic criteria, one of the things that they look for is that a student gets mostly A's in the majority of the classes that they take, including APs, IBs, and some of those like honor type courses, and that a student is in like the 5 to 10% class ranking range. In terms of standardized testing, for the year 2020, 75% of students reported a 1260 or higher on the SAT, and for the ACT, a 27 or higher. The next big thing is personal circumstances. These factors are taken into consideration when reviewing applicants. The number one thing that's looked at is the parents' level of education. The vast majority of college prep scholars are the first to attend a four-year university in their family. Number two, extenuating circumstances, and the most common for this is like helping pay the bills or helping take care of siblings. Number three, extracurricular activities. So did you do a lot in your community? Did you get leadership roles in your community? Number four, and this one's kind of vague, it's called personal traits. So they're looking at your motivation and your perseverance. I personally would say that you're likely to convey a lot of that through your essays and not as much through the other facets of your application. To me, all of this information boils down to how much opportunities did a student get. I think that this program particularly targets those students who didn't have a lot of opportunities, but still attempted to do absolutely everything they could with what was given to them. So if all of this sounds relatively like you should be applying. Now let's talk about the benefits of becoming a college prep scholar. You know, the real reason you're here. The College Prep Scholars program provides students with a large network of resources dedicated to helping students with essay writing and with anything related to the college admissions process. Even during the application period, QuestBridge hosts various seminars that help students with essay writing and with their application. Getting accepted to the program can mean a lot of things. The first and most important thing is that you can list your acceptance to the program as an award on your scholarships and college applications. Some of the key things that you can receive through the program are full ride scholarships to travel to different schools for summer programs, and the Quest for Excellence Award, which grants $1,000 for a new laptop or other resources. In my case, because of COVID, I did not receive any summer program scholarships, and I also did not receive the Quest for Excellence Award. I'm still recovering from that. However, I still got into the program, and so I want to talk about important pieces of my application, starting with my essays. Okay, so I'm going to read my biological essay, which is the largest essay on the application, and I'm going to give some advice on the other essay prompts. Feel free to skip to this portion of the video if you want to listen to some of my advice and not really see the essay. Many may argue the immigrant experience is that of financial difficulty and the pursuit of a better life, and ours is not much different. My father worked 2 jobs for over 10 years so he could achieve his dream of opening a grocery store. Growing up, I remember hearing of my father's dream, and he would tell me he wanted to name it La Centroamericana. 3 years after hearing the first mention of the store, my father took a risk and he invested time and money into his dream. In May of 2011, La Centroamericana opened its doors, and with it 9 years of my childhood. His work ethic has inspired me to be diligent in my work in school and out, and I have spent time in the summer and on the weekends ever since helping throw boxes away or restock shelves, until I eventually started working there part-time. Today I believe the work I have done at the store and my interactions with customers have made me responsible, patient, and diligent. A struggle of mine early on in high school was balancing my time between the store, homework, and extracurriculars. My weekends were almost always taken away by the store because they were the busiest days. I was quickly forced to adjust to having multiple responsibilities, and I developed a system of time management that involved me giving myself regular short breaks to not mentally overload myself. I believe this struggle is important to experience early on in life because it is a reality of the real world. None of us are ever sure we will ever have an easy path to achieve our dreams, and none of us are aware of all the challenges. After all, my father had to work 2 jobs that had no relation to the work that he would do at the store just to achieve his dream. Part of my father's dream with the store was to create an environment for my siblings and me to learn about the real world. My time there has taught me how to deal with people, and most importantly has given me multiple examples of where my life could go in the future. There was a key distinction between being the owner of a business, like my parents, and an employee. At times I found myself thinking the work there was menial and that I did not want a similar job in my adulthood. However, my parents wanted me to question it because they believed that my experience at the store, working hours doing basic things, would inspire me to do better in school and strive for a better future. After all, the immigrant experience in the US is not typically one that demands ambition, in part because not much is expected of Latinos. Growing up, I noticed at the store and at school that Latinos were looked down upon by various groups in our community. We were thought of as being weak economically and lacking skills to succeed in the United States. At the store, I could observe that Latinos typically worked menial labor jobs because they had no other option. Knowing that I had an opportunity to go beyond menial jobs motivates me to work harder in school and out because I am aware that others would trade everything they have for an opportunity to pursue their dreams in this country. I am grateful to my parents for allowing me to grow up at the store because seeing life through the perspective of Latinos, a group of people that typically struggle in the United States, inspires me to not be another Latino. My dream of pursuing a dream in computer science is attached to representing the capacities of Latinos. I'm tremendously proud to call myself a Latino and more specifically a Salvadoran, and I want to pursue my dream while waving my flag wherever I go. Lord, that took a bit. Looking back at this, it makes me realize that I can't English that well. My grammar and flow is not really the best, and it definitely improved for the next program. It didn't. But overall, focusing on the store and my upbringing and the impact it had on me seemed to be a great way of showing my work ethic. My main recommendation is that you focus on an event or an experience that has had a lasting impact on you, particularly positive. Now, that means that if you want to focus on some negative experience you had in your life, you are more than welcome to do that. You just want to make sure that you wrap that around and eventually come and show the reader how that helped you grow. Another tip is to make sure that the story or essay that you're telling is about you primarily. You might think that's common sense, but for children of immigrants like myself, it's very easy to focus on the obstacles our parents had to overcome. For example, in the essay I just read, I talked about the sacrifices my parents made to open up the store, but I didn't focus on it too much. Trust me, some of the earlier drafts of this essay had a lot more about them than it had about me. So, quick recap. For the biological essay, focus on positive impacts and developments, and focus on you. Now, let's talk some general advice for the other prompts. I can't really steer you in any direction in terms of what you should write because you're all really bright and you're all going to come up with unique answers to all of them. Instead, I want to focus on a system that helped me get it done on time, because that's like the hardest thing to do. If you're anything like me, you will overthink what to write 70% of the time, and the other 30% of the time you'll have no clue where to start. So let's talk about the system that's helped me get my essays done on time for this program and for applications in general. The first and most important stage is getting something on the paper. I cannot stress this one enough. The most important piece about writing any essay is having something to work with. You cannot edit an empty page, and for that reason I recommend that you take 2 to 3 topics and you write about them without worrying about the limits that have been imposed on you, like word limits. During this first stage, I'm only concerned about you having something that you can later on edit and refine, so that means multiple sentences or paragraphs. It doesn't have to be anywhere near perfect. This stage is only concerned about getting something on the page. An important thing about the first stage is that you want to start writing as soon as you can. Even if the deadline is a month or weeks away, you want to start now because the important thing is that you have something that you can work with for the second stage. You want to avoid writing your essays in one day or in a rush. The main reason I say this is explained in the second stage. For the second stage, I want you to create a schedule for yourself, and I want you to follow it as closely as you can. You are going to want to spend about 2 days a week working on your essays for about 1 hour each day. With this time, I want you to edit and refine the work that you have, or add new ideas that you come up with during the week. If you have over a month until it's due, about 1 to 2 hours every 2 days a week should be enough. If you have less than that time, then you're going to want to be a little closer to that 2-hour range. Now, the main goal of this system is to not mentally overload yourself. You're a smart student. You likely have a lot of things going on. You got clubs, you got extracurriculars you got to worry about. Heck, you got homework you got to worry about. So we don't want to dedicate too much time if we don't need to. Now, that being said, there's still probably going to be some of you that are going to wait until the last minute and attempt to do all the editing, refining, and finishing of the essay in a short period of time. The main reason I recommend not doing this, besides obviously not having a lot of time, is that when you're editing the actual paper, a common thing that happened to me was that when you repeatedly read something that you've been writing for a couple hours, or within a very short amount of time, but you've been writing a lot, everything starts to sound good even if it's not that great. When you're running on caffeine or adrenaline, your main goal is complete this shiz, right? It's not as much as making sure that it's 100% where it needs to be. So you will make compromises, and in that state you will look at it, and yes, you will think that some things that aren't that great are good because you deem that it's good enough. So definitely attempt to spread out the time that you actually work on these essays. Moving on, I want to talk about some of the fears that people have when applying. If you met the vast majority of the criteria that we talked about earlier in the video, I don't want you to doubt yourself, because it's very likely that you will know how to write essays and that you'll be able to effectively convey a lot of things about yourself to the other person reading your application. So definitely believe in yourself, and if for some reason you don't qualify, I don't want you to feel down or feel discouraged. There is still an opportunity as a senior to apply to another program called the National Match Program, which offers a 4 full year scholarship to students to top colleges like Stanford, Yale, Princeton, and MIT. There's a video that I did on it up here, and soon I will be making a full, more in-depth video on the national match specifically that'll be linked up here as well. And if you do qualify, congratulations! It's a great thing because now you can utilize it in many ways, especially as an award for other applications or other scholarships. But most importantly, because it's a great indication that you will qualify for the National Match Program. I hope the video was helpful, and if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section below, and I will get to them. And if you enjoyed the video, feel free to subscribe and drop a like down below. And until next time, adios.